Senate Republicans appear to be a little desperate in trying to smear Kavanaugh's accusers. And the reason why I'm saying that is because all of a sudden they are personally releasing letters by individuals who have no evidence against these women other than just stories of their sexual preferences. So I'll give you an example. There's Dennis Ketterer, who was a former weatherman in Washington, D.C., and he sent a letter to Republicans in the Senate Judiciary Committee. In fact, the Senate Judiciary Committee thought it would be a great idea to release this letter and highlight specific parts that would make Julie Swetnick, the third accuser in the Kavanaugh case, look like, paint her in a certain picture. Okay, let me just tell you what it says. So a committee press release, Judiciary Committee press release, touting the letter titled, Judiciary Committee receives statement regarding Swetnick allegations, emphasized excerpts from the letter focused on accuser Julie Swetnick's alleged past sexual practices and provided a link to the full letter. So I'm gonna give you portions of this letter. I'm gonna read it verbatim. Dennis Ketterer writes in the very beginning, I am a former weeknight meteorologist for Channel 7 in Washington, D.C., and won an Emmy in 1995.
That's WJLA. And I have no idea why you just told us you won an Emmy. This guy, you read the whole letter, he's weird. I'll explain why he's weird in a second, but it begins weird. Like I'm gonna tell you incredibly graphic sexual stories about a woman I kind of dated, but not really. But first, I'd like to tell you that I'm a weatherman who's won an Emmy. Oh, okay.
So he says, I met Julie Swetnick in 1993. I was at a going away party. I left the party to go to the bar to buy a soda. I haven't drunk alcohol since my 18th birthday. Okay, so grammatical issue there, who cares? Not that big of a deal, okay? But you were at a going away party and you needed to leave the party to go to a bar to get soda?
Yeah.
There was no soda at the party? Anyway, maybe that's a small thing, but that stood out to me for some reason.
It's somewhat relevant here because now we're in crazy land. So the Republicans are touting this as evidence that Swetnick is lying, and here's a former boyfriend basically saying this. As you'll see, he's not really a boyfriend. But why did you go to the bar if you don't drink? The reason is to try to pick up women. Okay, let's just be clear about that. And then he says that he thought she was a call girl because she actually talked to him, and he describes himself as 350 pounds, and why would she want someone like me? Well, first of all, you're on TV. That's a relevant factor. And I'm not putting that on Swetnick. It's just like someone had the decency to actually come up and talk to you, so you thought she might be a prostitute.
Yeah, let me give you the
and you'd like to share that with the whole world.
With the whole world. So I want to read that part to you. Like he says, as I sat alone at the end of the bar, Julie approached me. She was alone, quite beautiful, well dressed, and no drink in hand. My initial thought was that she might be a high-end call girl because at the time I weighed 350 pounds. So what would someone like her want with me? Later, then he writes this, there was no conversation about exchanging sex for money, so I decided to talk with her for a few minutes. So he says,
this guy's weird, man.
Super weird. He says that they've never had sex, okay? He suspected that she just wanted to get to know him or whatever because he's on TV. Again, there's a lot of assumptions being made. Maybe she's a nice person, she enjoyed the conversation. We don't know what her intentions were, but nonetheless, he then goes on to smear her as someone who enjoys group sex and like very specific and I don't know, personal details about what she allegedly likes when she has sex, but then says that they've never had sex together.
No, he later described her as very sexually aggressive with me, but they never had sex. And he keeps saying throughout the letter, like, oh, I had to go apologize to my church. My church is this. Okay.
How is this evidence?
And how was she sexually aggressive with you if you never even had any sex? Like, and the guy, there's some credibility here from him. And I don't know if I'm being over the top fair in this case to this guy who should not have made any of these things public, in my opinion, right? But like, he's so strange that he almost gains credibility. It would be a weird way to lie, right? And I think he does feel guilty about a lot of different things.
Well, he was married at the time.
No, I get it,
Yeah.
but like guilt is oozing out of this letter in 1,000 different. I went and checked with the church. I checked with the church. I didn't have sex with her. I'm sorry, right? And so he felt like it was. It seems to me that that it was the right thing to do to share this. I believe him that he was genuine in that. He apparently ran as a Democrat once. He said he was a sexual assault victim as well when he was 9 years old, and so. I'm giving you all the context here, and I know we're down the rabbit hole of insanity here. Of this person said that about this, and then another person said it about her, and etc. But to me, the most relevant part of all this is he actually says that, and this is why the Republicans are like, aha, we got her, right? That she enjoyed group sex with guys. But remember, his interpretation of events are a little questionable given the description of everything that he said. And what it actually does is it verifies that she told someone else that many men had sex with her at once. So that's like being left out of the story entirely.
Right.
And it's possible that she said that and not in the way that he's describing it, and he took it the wrong way.
Okay, so this is the reason why Senate Republicans thought it was a great idea to publish this letter, even though it doesn't prove anything. So he's alleging that through conversation, she said that she enjoys group sex. Remember, her allegation was that she was raped after her drink was spiked, and the men at that party did a train on her, which is where they take turns essentially abusing her. Okay, so the whole point of this letter is to say she liked it. This is what she likes. This is what she enjoys, and it's disgusting. Yeah. That's what this is. It's a way of smearing her. And by the way, let me be clear about one other thing. It is entirely possible that an individual would have certain sexual preferences, but could be raped in that very same sexual context, right? So you can be raped in a group or whatever, and still be someone who prefers that kind of sex. I mean, it's like saying, that woman who claims that she was raped once, you know what she told me one day? She told me that she enjoys sex. Can you believe it? Yeah, guess what? People enjoy sex, even if they've been victimized in the past.
No, look,
it's so sick.
We're in weird, perilous territory here because, look, do I know Swetnick is 100% credible? No, I don't know that at all. And so, and I know that when she did the TV interview, she appeared to change some parts of her story, or they didn't hold up to exactly what she had written out with Avenatti. So I'm not saying I know for sure that Swetnick's on the level and she's got all of her details right. I don't know. But this guy's not a great character witness. And for Republican senators to put this super weird letter out to try to make it seem like she enjoyed it is the troubling part.
That's exactly right.
Because this guy, she accidentally did the favor of showing him some positive attention. They never even had sex, they never even dated. But in his novel that he wrote in his head, oh, she liked sex so much and she was so sexually aggressive with me and she wanted me so much. And at first I thought of who could want me? It must be a hooker, or then it's somebody who is obsessed with sex or likes me for being on TV and all this stuff. And so I gotta tell you guys, I gotta tell the whole country. I told my church and they told me to tell you guys that, that she's, what, wants it? Don't do that, don't do that. So this is the terrible spot we're in right now. Look, by the way, what is the correct way to handle this? As I've said 1,000 times, I don't know about Swetnick. She didn't testify. I haven't seen the whole thing. So in the very first day when it first came out, she said Kavanaugh was present at the parties that she was raped. I said, I don't know what that means. Was he present as in he participated or he didn't participate, etc., right? So what is the correct thing to do? Instead of leaking stupid letters from weirdos from years past, no, have the FBI talk to her. And maybe if she is not credible, the FBI will be able to tell, right? And have the FBI talk to people she says were at those parties. See if Kavanaugh was at those parties. Like, can we get back to sanity and have people chase down leads?
We can't, because they're so desperate at this point. Remember, it's not Democrats, it's not us, it's not anyone on the left who is trying to avoid the investigation into these accusations. It was the group of people who claimed that Kavanaugh is innocent. And again, if you really think he's innocent, why wouldn't you want the investigation to clear his name? Why are they going out of their way to smear an accuser, right? If you think she's lying, then you should be happy that this investigation happened. But remember, the FBI wasn't even allowed to talk to her until Trump was pressured to allow for the FBI to interview her. Why? Why is that? If you think that, she enjoys being, in these situations with multiple men and it's just her preference and she's lying about Kavanaugh, why wouldn't you want FBI agents to talk to her? I mean, they certainly it doesn't feel like they're believing Kavanaugh here.
Yeah, if again, for the billionth time, if I'm Kavanaugh and I think Swetnick is making this stuff up and it's crazy, that's the first person I want the FBI to talk to.
Right.
It'll be really easy to discredit. Instead, Republican senators put this right. Last thing on this, he said he only knew her for a couple of weeks. And he said, oh yeah, but she never told me about Kavanaugh. Dude, why the hell would she tell you about Kavanaugh? I got news for you. You guys weren't dating. All that stuff was in your head, right? So now your best attack against Swetnick is some random weather dude, kind of, but not really, went out with her. No, didn't even go out with her, just met her a couple of times for a couple of weeks, decades ago. But hey, he thinks she wanted it. Oh, for Christ's sake. Thanks for watching this free clip of the Young Turks. Don't forget to become a TY.